Hey sis, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I want to talk about how I grew my lower half. So when I first started losing weight, I kind of lost my lower half because I wasn't doing it right, and I was at a point where I'm like, okay, I want to kind of grow my booty again. And I actually did that within 8 weeks, and of course it grew more over time, but in 8 weeks is when I started to see real results. So I want to talk about how I did it. Now, disclaimer before we start, genetics do play a part in how your butt naturally will look, and getting a BBL type of booty is just not realistic for everybody. And honestly speaking, when I say grow my booty, I'm talking about overall a muscular, tone lifted booty. So it doesn't have to be super duper huge, super duper wide hips. That's not realistic. I'm just talking about growing my booty for my body type. Now, my body type, I feel like I always naturally had a booty. I was never overly thick, but I always had a booty just for me in general. So it probably wasn't as hard for me to grow it, but here's ways that I did it. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right into this video. So the first thing I changed was my routine. So I kept it simple. I did it from home because, like I said, when I started working out, it was around the time COVID was happening. And when COVID happened, as you all know, the gyms were closed. So I had no way of getting into the gym. So stuff I used, I invested in some dumbbells and resistance bands. And if I didn't have that, while I was waiting for them to come, I was using my body weight. Simple movements. So I would do lower half workouts 3 to 4 times a week. And some of the workouts I did were glute bridges and hip thrusts. That really isolated my booty muscles and helped me with that. Donkey kicks and fire hydrants, Bulgarian split squats, and I made sure I was doing slow and controlled reps. And I made sure I wasn't rushing, and I focused on mind to muscle connection. So I was doing the movement slow, and I would squeeze at the top. So if it was a squat, I would squat and then squeeze my booty at the top to really isolate that booty muscle. And I also made sure that before I did a booty workout, I was doing glute isolation workouts. Some glute isolation workouts were the ones I mentioned, like fire hydrants, even glute bridges, stuff like that, to really isolate the muscle before I start doing the workouts. So the next thing I worked on was progressive overload from home. Progressive overload doesn't just mean that it just means I'm upping the weight every single time. So there are ways you could do it from home. Just because it's at home does not mean you cannot grow your booty. A lot of people think that they have to be in the gym to do it, but honestly, the gym is not for everybody. Some people can't go to the gym, some people can't afford it. There's ways you can get results doing things from home. So I made sure I added intensity by increasing the reps I was doing. So instead of doing 3 sets of 10, sometimes I would do 3 sets of 20, just increasing the reps. I would also add resistance bands or dumbbells, like I said earlier. The dumbbells I have a 20-pound dumbbell, a 10-pound dumbbell, and a 5-pound dumbbell. So if I want to add intensity, or in general, a lot of my workouts I do use dumbbells for, and it's like a game changer for me. I realized that I kind of like that better than going to the gym and using machines, because it just feels more simple for me, and I still get the results that I want. I don't have to worry about other people in the gym looking at me, my anxiety. I'm just doing it from the comfort of my own home. So that was one of my best things. And also, I slowed down the tempo. Literally slowing down the tempo, you'll feel like you're doing a whole different workout. If you're doing fast squats, that still works, but slowing it down, you'll notice you're feeling the burn a little bit more, because it's isolating that muscle a little bit more, and it's just adding a little bit more intensity to it. I'm not saying you have to up the intensity each and every time you do it, but every once in a while, try those things to challenge yourself a little bit more, because challenging yourself also helps with muscle growth, and we want that muscle to grow. Our glute is a muscle, and we want that to lift and grow. So the next thing was what I ate. You cannot build muscle while you are under eating, and that's where my problem started, right? So when I first lost weight, I was under eating. I was not eating enough, and that's when I realized that's why my booty and my thighs were not growing, because I was scared to eat. Make sure that you're eating 3 meals a day with protein in it, 2 to 3 meals a day. Now, I'm not that person that's gonna tell yourself to force you to eat, because that's not realistic either. If you're not hungry, it's hard for you to force yourself. But since you will be working out, you'll probably naturally be a little bit hungrier. So I always say, while you're working out, you're still going to be hungry. And a lot of times we are hungry. We just try to stop ourselves from eating because we feel like we're going to gain belly fat or we're going to gain too much weight, when that's just not true. So I decided to eat smarter, not harder, if that makes sense. So instead of me eating bad foods, because a lot of times when we want to grow our booty, we decide to just binge eat a bunch of cakes, a bunch of sweets, thinking that we're just going to gain weight. And that's not true. We might gain weight, but our health is still not going to be the best. I always say it's best to do healthy meals, like clean foods, protein, healthy carbs with a side of veggies. So protein examples would be eggs, chicken, protein shakes, yogurt, Some carb examples would be rice, fruit, healthy fats like avocado, nut butter, and I drank a lot of water. Okay, so this actually helped because when you don't drink water in general, you're naturally going to be dehydrated, of course, and you're also going to be very, very bloated. This helped with my bloating. Key tip also as well, while I was doing these workouts too, like I said before, I was doing glute workouts, but I also added in light cardio. So I would walk. Instead of doing like high intensity interval training around that time where I was trying to grow my booty, I did light cardio. So I would walk on a treadmill or walk outside because I still wanted to get some cardio in to keep me lean, but I did light movements. And also just for my overall health, heart health. So light movements like walking outside, walking on the treadmill for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's not going to cure your gains. Walking is like an everyday movement. That's not going to cure your gains. It actually is going to help. So next thing I did was I changed my mindset and I was consistent. Consistency over intensity, okay? Always remember that. So a lot of the times we think that if we're not lifting super heavy or if we're not working out every single day that we're not going to see results. For one, you need to give yourself rest days because your body, your muscles grow while it's at rest, okay? So your body needs rest days. I always say give yourself at least 2 rest days. That's what I was doing. I made sure to add in rest days, and I was not working my legs every single day. So if I did a leg workout Monday, Tuesday, I would just walk on the treadmill. Wednesday would be a leg day, but I would not do leg days back to back because my legs need time to rest. Even if I did a leg day Monday and I was like, okay, my body's too sore, Tuesday, I would just rest if that was the case, but I was not doing back-to-back same muscle group workouts. I just was not doing that because that's not good for your lower half in general. You can seriously injure yourself badly by doing that, and I wish I knew that sooner. So don't work the same muscle over and over because you're going to be overworking that muscle. And trust me, it's not going to make your booty grow any faster. You need to give your body rest. Your body, your muscles grow while it's at rest. So now I'm going to talk about my results. Honestly speaking, I actually really love where I'm at right now, and I love like how it looks right now. Honestly, I feel like it definitely grew because I definitely gained more weight, but that's just because I was under eating before, and once I got my eating back healthier, I gained a healthier amount of weight, and as well as my booty lifted. I feel like it looks great right now, and I love the way my thighs look. This is just my personal opinion and how I feel like I feel like I did great. So if I could go back and do anything differently, I definitely would. So I would definitely go back and maybe like stretch before my workouts, do a warm-up before my workouts, and stretch after my workouts. The reason is because you're doing a whole leg workout. You're straining your body when you work out no matter what. If you're not warming it up, that can lead to injury, and also if you're not stretching, that can lead to injury. And also if you're not stretching, that can lead to serious injury. So you have to make sure you're warming up and stretching after and before. I was not doing that. So in the beginning, when I wasn't doing it, I realized that my body was a lot sore than usual. It was hard for me to walk. And until I started adding that in, that's when my body felt so much better. And that's one thing I would do differently. Another thing I would do differently too is I would not be afraid to eat. In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, because I was just coming out of an eating disorder, I had times where I was just so scared to eat. Like I was so scared because I'm like, I don't want to gain too much weight. You know what I mean? Like as a female, you guys probably understand that feeling. Like you're just scared, you're nervous because, you know, like you don't want to all your progress you made to go in the drain. But you cannot be scared to eat. You cannot be scared to just live life. Honestly speaking, like I understand that we want results really, really bad, and that's okay. But if it's detrimental to your life and it's making you miserable, that's when you might need to sit down and think, okay, where can I become a little bit more lenient with myself? Okay, so I would definitely say enjoy the process while you're in it. And that's something I wish I would have did sooner, but I'm not complaining because I got to where I wanted to get to. But during the process, I wasn't really enjoying it the way I needed to enjoy it. If I would have just enjoyed it, I probably would have been a lot more happier throughout it. And the results probably would have still been the same, but my mindset would have been so much better. I wouldn't have been depressed throughout it. I wouldn't have been comparing myself so much if I would have just loved myself throughout the journey, and if I would have just enjoyed it and just understood that everybody's body's differently. I don't know what changed in my mind. Maybe because I'm like getting older, but around that time I was like 19, 18, 17, so I was really, really young-minded, and I was just so hell-bent on being perfect to the point where it was at my own mental health detriment. And I don't want anybody else to go through that same thing I went through and think that you need to be perfect in order to, you know, in order to be the best version of yourself, because that's just not true. Nobody in this world is perfect, okay? So just do this to be the best version of you and be a healthier version of you. Yes, I talked about growing my booty and how I did it, but it was also just for my own confidence kind of in a way too, because I could put on an outfit and say, wow, I like the way it looks because I worked for it. I had to realize it's not because I like the way it looks because I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks because I worked for it. That's where the confidence comes in, because you worked for something, not because, oh, I just look better. You know what I'm trying to say? Once I changed that part of my mindset and saying like, okay, the confidence comes from me being confident because I worked for something, I worked hard for something, and I got what I wanted. You know, once you change that part, the self-love really comes in because you love every part of yourself. You love the motivation part of you. You love the part of you that's hardworking and that actually, you know, worked hard to get your results. If you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to explain it in the best way I can, but it's just a major difference between just liking the way you look and liking, you know, the hard work you put into getting the way you looked. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just really hope that short video helped whoever needs to hear it. If you're wanting to start your fitness journey, just start it, okay? Like, there's no right or wrong way to start. I mean, there is, but you know what I'm trying to say. Just start. Do not overthink it. Just go ahead because you got this, all right? So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.